All right, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to another video. I'm doing something a little bit different this time. I'm doing a book review. It's an audiobook review, technically. But yeah, I listen to audiobooks all the time. I have maybe mentioned it in videos before. I've definitely talked about it on my podcast, I think, at some point. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of audiobooks, so I have a ton of them. But for this video, I want to talk about one that I just recently finished. That would be Thrawn Alliances, which is written by Timothy Zahn, and it's narrated by Mark Thompson. This is the second book in the first canon trilogy for Thrawn. So there's the original Thrawn Trilogy, which is Heir to the Empire, I believe is the title, which was also written by Timothy Zahn, which is super cool that the same guy has written all of these Thrawn books. But so there's that original trilogy that came out a long time ago. I don't remember when exactly, but that is Legends material now. And so then Thrawn was reintroduced into canon via Rebels, and then also this trilogy of books. And so this is the second in that trilogy. There's also then a third trilogy, which the third book in that trilogy is going to come out later this year, but that is a prequel trilogy, so I'm excited to get to those eventually. Anyway, the reason that I'm starting with book 2 instead of book 1 is because it's admittedly been a little while since I listened to book 1. So, I mean, I remember overall the general gist, but I want to go back and listen to that again, and then I will do a video on that because I do want to do more of these audiobook reviews, because I think that I love books a lot, and it's so it'd be cool to talk about them and give some variety. But anyways, Thrawn Alliances. So the general gist of this, I guess I'm not going to get too heavy into spoilers. I may do some like specific spoiler talk video maybe on the trilogy as a whole after I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, this book follows two timelines. You have Thrawn in the past working with General Anakin Skywalker during the Clone Wars, and then you have Thrawn in the present, which is during the reign of the Empire, where Thrawn is working with Darth Vader. And so jumping back and forth between those two timelines is really cool. You have them investigating different occurrences, but that have some narrative threads that do connect to each other. And that's one thing I'll go ahead and say just from the get-go, that Timothy Zahn is really, really good about. A general occurrence in the Star Wars novels where you'll have your main characters you're with, but then you also have these tertiary side characters with their own arcs and their own lives, obviously, that they're going on. And it's really cool to see how these stories become interlinked, you know, even being, across the galaxy from each other. And so that's a thing that is continued and done well in these books. And yeah, so you get the investigation that Anakin and Thrawn are like searching for. They're searching for one of Padme's handmaidens, I believe. And so they're looking for her. She's gone missing. And so you also get Padme in this. She's got a couple chapters, which is super interesting to get more for her character. It's just generally, I guess I'll talk about the past and then the present and then just overall things. The past is really cool because it's, one, super interesting. It adds more to Thrawn's backstory and kind of what's going on as compared to what we were led to believe and kind of learned about in the first book. So we see that Thrawn is doing more than what was previously led on in his years before joining the Empire. And so that's super interesting. There's a lot more hints and references and things about the Chiss ascendancy and his people, which is super interesting. His general back and forth with Anakin is just so good. And Thrawn, like as a character, these books have made, I've tweeted it a bunch of times now, these books have made Thrawn probably my second favorite Star Wars character, only behind Ahsoka. And he's just such a well-rounded and compelling character. He's just so interesting to listen to watch, navigate these different circumstances, and just to see how he goes through all of it, just the way that his mental process works. He's just he's incredibly compelling to me. I love him a lot. He's always like 18 steps ahead, but he's also just such a genuinely, like, I want to say good from a moral standpoint character too. He's got a very clear-cut, objective, and I'd say morally sound way of looking at things. And he's this Grand Admiral of the Empire. So it's a really interesting juxtaposition there. Because like I don't even, like, Thrawn is a villain technically, but like I have such a hard time like putting him beside Vader, if that makes sense. You know, like it's a very different thing. But yeah, so he's an incredible character overall. Like I can't praise him and the writing of him in these books enough. But so seeing that back and forth, that interplay between him and Skywalker is really, really cool. And then also flipping that and getting that back and forth and seeing the difference in how Thrawn interacts with Vader and getting the direct juxtaposition, because they definitely draw a lot of parallels between the past and present and like bounce off of that throughout the book. And it's done exceptionally well. And just seeing the differences, seeing Thrawn and Vader's interactions, like this book straight up has some of my favorite interactions ever now in Star Wars between Vader and Thrawn. There was one point near the end of the book where I was listening and my jaw literally dropped at something that was said. It's very, very good. And then also in the present, they are investigating the Grisks, and so the threat that the Grisk pose to not only the Chiss ascendancy and the Empire. And so there's a really, my friend Sean, I'll go ahead and shout him out now, has been for years telling me, he's like, the Grisk are going to be the future, like big bad kind of Star Wars in the near future or what have you. And I'm 100% on board for that now. The Grisk are terrifying and they're woven into the story very well and in a very interesting way. And I think the line that Thrawn is on because of wanting to protect his people, the Chiss, from the Grisk, but then also saying that doing that is not a mutually exclusive thing to also having the Empire's best interests in mind. And so that is really cool. Something that book 2, while I'm thinking about it, does extremely well is how tied into the Rebels TV series and what is happening in the rest of the Star Wars universe at the time this book is taking place, like direct references to things that are happening. The TIE Defender project is a huge thing. Book 3 also does this a lot. I'm currently listening to book 3 right now, the TIE Defender project, and then even going into Stardust and, you know, some stuff from Rogue One, which I'll get into that more. I'll do a video on that book whenever I finish it. But it is really cool seeing how organically and just how well interlinked these books have been to the rest of the Star Wars canon at the time, and it's really cool seeing that expanded. Another thing that I really, really love about all the Star Wars books is how much more you can get with the world of Star Wars in terms of like the minutia of things work. Like I love all the little ins and outs of the universe. Like I love knowing anytime they're on Coruscant in like a Star Wars book, how much they talk about the city's infrastructure, like, you know, trash collection, like straight up taxes on people, how the public living situation is, like, is there free housing for people? Like, how does that work? How does the elite live compared to people on the lower levels? Like, what is the crime like in that? Like, how is this city powered? Like, how is this planet powered? You know, what droids have specific jobs and whatever factories? Like, just these little things that you don't really have the time to get into in the movies or even the TV shows, even though you have more time there. But like, it's just the little things that you can really only do in books and in novels. And I eat that up. I love it a lot. You get a ton of that in all the Star Wars novels, like hearing the specific ship names over and over again, hearing how they handle differently compared to this freighter class ship or this normal civilian one, and what the differences between that would be, and just the HoloNet. And literally, I'm just going off on a complete tangent, but that's the stuff that I love in these novels, and that's what they do. That's what they give you, just from a wide range of things in what happens and how the galaxy far, far away operates. And I love that. And so, yeah, that's a huge plus for me. Yeah, the story overall is really good. It's got a really both the first book and then this book, and then also the third one so far. They have really, really compelling, really strong mysteries, kind of detective stories a little bit going for it. They get your brain thinking the whole time. You're trying to catch up and be with Thrawn. No, I mean, it's kind of impossible to, but like, it's got a very clear-cut narrative going through. It's very strong, keeps you engaged the whole time. The supporting cast that is there is very, very strong as well. Like I said, just that interplay between Vader, Thrawn, and Anakin, like those 3 characters, if you would like to call them that, is very, very cool to see. It's done very well. Also, from an audiobook side of things, I will speak about this probably every time I talk about a Star Wars audiobook. And I tell all my friends this all the time. I'm sure they're so tired of hearing it. The production quality on the Star Wars audiobooks is insane. It is so good. You get a score with it. So you get that classic Star Wars music that hits whenever you have those huge emotional moments. And it's really good. You get that. But then you also get a ton of sound effects. Like if there's someone walking down a concrete hallway and they're wearing boots, you will hear the clack of their boots against the floor. You will hear rain if it's raining outside, just general like cantina or bar like chatter, like people playing poker, people drinking, like the music. You'll hear lightsabers igniting and, you know, going against each other. You'll hear blaster fire. You hear just literally anything you can think of. You get that extra atmospheric, that noise, that immersion into the story. And that's something that I love about the Star Wars audiobooks. They're super, super high production quality, and Mark Thompson does an incredible job narrating them. He has a killer Thrawn voice. It is so good. It is so just subtle and cold and calculated, but also not emotionless, and just really, there's a lot of nuance there, and it's got that edge of power. It's very good. He does a great job. So yeah, I think those are most of my general thoughts on the second Thrawn book, Thrawn Alliances. Yeah, I guess now I'll plug stuff. If you don't already, please be sure to follow me on Twitter. You can find my personal Twitter at APBatman with 2 T's. You can follow my Batman account at Batman Files. That's where I post about all my Batman interests and stuff like that, Batman news. Also, please be sure to go and follow my podcast Twitter, Comics Coffee Pod. It's brand new Twitter that we've got up and running. It's for Evan and I's podcast that we do weekly. Please also be sure to go check out the episodes that we have on the Lightcast YouTube. I'll have that linked down below. Be sure to go to subscribe there. Got a ton of interviews lined up over the next couple episodes. Super, super excited for that. So be sure to go follow our Twitter at Comics Coffee Pod and be on the lookout for that. Also, of course, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like down below. Really helps me out and I really appreciate it. And if you aren't already, please consider subscribing and turning that notification bell on. It also very much helps me out and I appreciate it. Thank you again for watching and be sure to tune into the next one. Later.